Right. Okay. Well, it's 9:30. We'll go ahead and get started. If anybody else kind of wants to jump on afterwards, we'll include them in. But first off, I just wanted to say thank you guys for making the jump to Adapt Realty Group. I know I've had a chance to talk with all of y'all, but at the same time, I just wanted to thank you guys again for making the switch. We hope to keep it good. We hope to keep it fresh for y'all and support you guys in any way we can. The first thing I want to do is kind of the reason why we wanted to keep everything small is to have everybody know each other. Sherry, I don't know if you know Mr. Terry, and Terry, I don't know if you know Sherry. So,
Sherry and Terry.
Sherry, if you don't mind just kind of introducing yourself a little bit. I have 3 questions. One, just your name, first and last name, where you're from, and how long you've been in San Antonio, and then why real estate.
My name is Sherry Ettinger. I'm from Alpena, Michigan. I moved down here in the 80s, the early 80s, and real estate. I've always loved looking at homes and just since I bought my own first home, I've always been interested in like helping somebody else find that first home.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Nice.
Terry?
I lived in San Antonio all my life. I love numbers. I do bookkeeping, income tax, and my wife was going to retire, and I thought her and I would get in real estate together, but she's still a full-time nurse, so now I'm in real estate, and that's my icing on the cake.
Awesome. And what was your name one more time, first and last?
Oh, I'm sorry, Terry Wamsley.
Awesome. Awesome.
Nice meeting you, Cheryl. Sherry?
Yes.
Yeah, Sherry.
Yeah. So we have James who just hopped on, but his audio is still connecting. So we'll kind of move
We
forward.
may come back to him.
We'll move forward, and then once I see that he's kind of on, we'll jump back in with him. But overall, quick update. I mean, things are going well. The market's back up. Honestly, stronger than ever. Everybody is really having a hard time submitting offers and getting offers, right? Especially in your certain troublesome price points. And that's kind of the main topic we wanted to talk to today, especially for the first meeting. Just have some sort of good. Okay, we're gonna revert back real quick. James, we got you on here. I just wanted to have you state your name real quick, where you're from, how long you've been in San Antonio, and why real estate.
Okay, James Gutierrez. I've been in San Antonio all my life, 47 years, and I actually have a full-time job, but I want to transition into doing real estate, my full-time job. So I want to do that eventually, like full-time.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome.
And bear with me. I got sick over the weekend. I think I have the COVID. I'll find out the results today.
Oh, no.
Oh, goodness.
Yes. Yeah, I got sick, so I didn't even go to work. So yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh, well, I'm
poor
glad
thing.
you hopped on. I hope it's
Hey guys.
Hi, Marta.
Hey, Marta, you jumped in just in time. So 3 questions. What's your first and last name? Where are you from? How long have you been in San Antonio? And why real estate?
Okay, that's a lot. That's a lot of questions. Hold on, I'm driving, so I'll try my best to remember everything you said.
It's okay.
Is it my turn?
Yes, you hopped on just at the right time.
Okay. My name's Marta Dragomir, and I've been in San Antonio, 7 years. I was originally from the Texas area. I grew up in the Texas area, so this is kind of like home for me.
Mm-hmm.
Why real estate? Let's see. I've just always been interested in homes and the staging part of homes, and then so it kind of felt like a natural just skill set to jump into, and so I just really enjoyed it.
Good.
Yeah.
Did I get them all?
That was it. No, that was awesome. So
Okay.
some of us have some similarities, and another one of us just like the business because it's a new venture. So
Awesome.
kind of to recap, overall, the market has been great, guys. I know a lot of y'all are having trouble submitting offers, and you have a lot of clients coming in, which is awesome. So our main topic today is competitive offers. And what do those look like? Why do we have to deal with those? And what is going on and how to hopefully make our contract stand out versus others. because I know probably 4 of our agents right now, I've had the same question. Hey, there's 4 offers on the table. What do I do? How do I make it look nice? And where do we go from there? So really, what happens and why do we need competitive offers? So really, it dictates from one, low days on market, right? If it's the first 4 or 5 days on market, we know we're going to have to be a little bit competitive, just because they're wanting stronger offers because they haven't had to wait a whole month or wait whatever. The second thing is always call the listing agent first and let them know, hey, do we have any offers? I know there's a lot of times agents will just want to write the offer without even talking to the agent. Really talk to them. That is the number one source of information, is that selling agent. Call them and find out anything that may not be on the MLS or on the seller's disclosure. Tell them to talk to you about the house a little bit, and then always ask, hey, do you guys have any offers, or are you expecting any offers? Because the less you tell or the less you ask, the less they're going to tell you. So always ask for more information, and that's going to give you the best ability to make a good offer. And then also setting expectations with your clients. First and foremost, when in the buying process, let them know, hey, I'm going to try my hardest to save you as much money, right? But in the case that there is more competition, we're going to need to be a little bit more competitive, which means we may have to pay a little bit more. We may be able to not have as much closing costs covered. We may have to, rush a little bit. Just really setting those expectations with them and not making it seem like, oh, we're going to get the best deal in the world. That's obviously our goal number one. Always try to get the best deal for our clients. But if we can't and we have to go a little bit more harder or more aggressive, let that be known up front. Instead of the buyer saying, well, why am I having to now pay all this money? And why do I was under the impression that I only had to do this. I could get all my closing costs covered, and that's what we want to do for them always. But hey, if you really want this house, you're going to need to pay a little bit. You're going to need to be a little bit more flexible, a little bit, stronger in our offers. So that's just the nature of what it is, right? A lot of people want these homes, so we have to be a little bit more competitive. And just setting those expectations, having those conversations will really help every agent and every transaction go a little bit more smooth, because you can tell them, hey, well, this is kind of what we talked about in the beginning. It's not something that's new and thrown out of nowhere. So we can start from there, just setting those expectations and having those conversations with those clients. I did see Anna jump on, and we'll come back to you, Miss Anna. So just hang tight. So the contracts, really the main bullet points on making a strong offer in your contract. And I'm going to go off from the beginning of the contract down towards the end. And that's earnest money. First and foremost, the first thing that everybody sees is, one, the price. And of course, we want the highest price we can, depending on the nature, right? If we have multiple offers, do we want to go full price, or do we want to go a little bit overpriced to see, if that's going to make it? But the second thing is earnest money, right? The earnest money, we're always trying to keep that in-house. We have multiple outs on how to get those things back. But in the seller's eyes, when you put more earnest money on the contract, they see, oh, they have more skin in the game. There's more chance for me to be able to get that money if for some reason the buyer backs out. But as the buyer's agents, we are specialized and we do not let that happen, right, guys? We have our option periods. We have our third-party financing addendums. We have the appraisals. We have all these things that will allow us to get that earnest money back. So don't be afraid to put a little bit more in to make it look more appealing to that seller, right? And just make sure you follow your timings, follow your guidelines, so that you can get that earnest money back for whatever reason may come up. But seeing that on a contract, the sellers already light up a little bit. And then going back to those the initial sales price, right? You never want to go too far up and then put yourself in a risk of appraisal issues, right? But at the same time, setting those expectations. Hey, let's put the price up a little bit, and if we do get accepted, just let the sellers know, hey, if we do have an appraisal issue, we cannot pay more, whatever. Setting those expectations again once you're in the deal, and it makes things a lot smoother. And then towards the end of it, if anything happens, they're okay. Survey and title. This is another thing. If your clients can pay for it, try and pay for it. Don't always say, oh, it's always a seller expense. It's always this. If your buyer really wants that house and they're willing to pay for things, get them to pay the survey or the title. A lot of the times you can even get the lender to pay for your title. So talk to your lenders. Hey, what kind of incentives will you give them? Will you pay for my title? Will you pay for the survey? Will you pay for the appraisal? Just something in there that will save your buyer some money as well as saving the seller some money. So if they can pay for the title policy, that is something that they have been done, and I've done it. I've got it done before, and deals have been made. And then home warranty and concessions, right? Those are always the big things, more money coming out of the seller's pocket. So the more money you can save the seller, obviously the stronger your offer is going to be. So financing so home warranty and concessions, kind of limit those unless your buyer absolutely needs them, right? If they're just kind of a cash poor buyer and they need those down payment things, then, adjust the price willingly, and then we can move from there. But if your client is needing concessions and we're having to go above asking price, just make sure that if we do get accepted, to let those sellers know, hey, if there is an appraisal miss, my buyers have to have that earnest or that concessions in place. And by setting that first and foremost, that just puts it in their head, and then they know they're not going to be able to take away concessions. So I've done that probably 4 times, and regardless if the buyer even needs them or not, state that they need them. Right? We're trying to save our clients money. So once we're in the deal and we're kind of debating whether there may be an appraisal miss, just let the sellers know, hey, regardless if the appraisal comes back low, my clients need X amount to close. Otherwise, we will not be able to close. So by setting that, a lot of the times it kind of moves that forward. So one time, probably 2 months ago on one of my deals, we had a $23,000 appraisal miss.
What do you mean by appraisals?
By appraisal miss. So like we were contracted at, $320, and the contract came back, or the appraisal came back at, $297, right around the 290 portion, right? So almost $30,000 difference. But in the beginning, I told them, hey, my client needs at least $3,500 of concessions, regardless of what happens. So we still got a $23,000 to $30,000 reduction, and still got to keep them $3,500 concessions, because I made that aware. I made that seller know, hey, we need these things to close, and if you want this deal closed, we have to keep those things. So just setting those expectations, again, just having those conversations with those people really makes a big difference, and just puts it in their head instead of a big surprise later on down the line of things coming up. Financing types, that is a huge one. So if you guys are in these competitive offers and they have to go FHA or VA, you're already at kind of a bottom, not a leg, what am I looking for? A deficit, really. You're in a deficit if you're in an FHA or VA. If you can have your buyers go conventional, sellers really like conventional offers because there's less lender required repairs. There's less issues that may arise. They're just cleaner appraisals, as well as just, things that don't need to be done, right? FHA and VA have a lot of guidelines that they have to do because they're very consumer protected based from the government. But if you can go conventional, I would advise conventional, especially if you're in the 150s upwards into the 250s, just because that market is very saturated. Finding a house in the 150s that's livable, that's nice, that's, has all the bells and whistles is very, very hard to do, especially right now without largely competitive offers. So if you can have a conventional offer or a conventional buyer and have that option, you're more than likely going to win that contract by going conventional versus FHA or VA, just because they're a little bit more stringent in those items. And then closing date. So talk to your lenders. What is the absolute quickest that y'all can close? I know during COVID, I know there's kind of some limitations, but what is our close date and how fast can we close? Because the quicker the sellers can get their money, the more likely they're going to want to go with you. And the best part with that is talk to your lender. Have them not only pre-qualify your buyers, but qualify them fully while you're shopping. Don't wait to get under contract for them to start asking for more documents. Talk to the lender and let them know, hey, we want to go full qualification right now, and so the last thing we need to do is order the appraisal so you can get those things moving quicker. Otherwise, most lenders, they'll give you your normal pre-qual, and then once you find something, then they start asking for more documents, then they start asking for all the little bells and whistles to close the deal. And that's what takes the longest, right? So ask them to do that up front, wait and get all your documentation, get everything lined up in a row. And then once, all we have to do is go through an option period and then the appraisal, and then we're good to go, right? We don't have to wait for all of these other things. And clearing title is the other last thing. It's just that one. And that is home specific. But if they can qualify your buyer and get them fully qualified before even going to that route, it's going to save you guys a lot of time and make your offers look even better. Third thing, or I don't know, fourth, fifth, sixth, I don't know, remember. But third-party finance days, again, talk to your lenders. When do you think we can get that final approval? If somebody sees, you know, there's 15 days lender approval over the normal person of 30 days, they're going to go, well, that's a more likelihood that I'm going to get their earnest money in 15 days. So I like that looking better. But you know, and you've talked to your lender that, hey, in 15 days, we're going to get everything good. We're going to get everything done. And not necessarily 15, but, you know, try to get it to the shortest amount possible and really utilize your lenders. Talk to them, be friends with them, and really have that communication with them. Because it's key, right? Your team players are the people that are going to be behind you. And then option period. So talk to your inspectors. Again, be friends with your vendors. Always, always, always utilize them, talk to them, and see what we can do. So if you have an inspector that can get their out tomorrow, right? Why do we need 10 days? If we're going to have the report back in a day, and then we have maybe 3 days to do some negotiations, we have enough time, right? So maybe shorten those option period days from 7. I wouldn't say any less than 7 unless your inspector can get out there like the next day. Right? And then maybe go 5. But option period days are very, very important as well. I don't want to take my time 10 days off market to figure out if this guy wants to continue. If I can go with this guy that's going to give me 5 to 7 days, hey, I'd rather do that and then move on if something happens. So option days, really talk to your inspectors and get things back in time. And if we need to extend because we need a bid or we need a foundation level check, then work for those option periods, right? If we're already at a 5 to 7 day, hey, give me 3 more days, those 10 to the full 10 days, and then we're like a normal deal, right? So kind of keep those things in mind and revert it back to a normal deal. So if we're in it early and then, oh, we need to extend 3 days, it's like we picked another offer, so it's okay, not a big deal. And then the last thing, first and final, right? So have your buyers try and write a letter. Tell them, explain them why we love this house. This is our forever home. We want to raise our kids in this home. If they have dogs, we want to raise our dogs in this home. Whatever the case may be, have them write a letter. Make it personable. I know in my experience, I've done this multiple times, but 2 times they've really worked. And the agent has told me, you know, you guys were not the highest offer or the best offer, but you guys were the sweetest offer and the nicest offer and the kindest offer. And we want to pass on our lovely home that we grew our kids in for you guys to grow your kids in, right? There is that sentiment of value. People don't want their home that they've loved to go to somebody else that's just going to trash the place, to an investor or to whoever, right? They want somebody that's also going to love the home the way they love their home. So that is a huge thing for sellers, right? Is passing their home to somebody else that will love and care for it as well. And then that's pretty much it for the contract. Those key factors will really help you win the deal, right? And it's always dependent. So if whatever scenarios you guys have, obviously come reach out to us. We're here to help you for anything and everything you need. And then right now, that's kind of.
Can I just say, it's also this, you know, competitive offers are good for buyers, obviously, if you're on the buy side. But let's say you're that listing agent and you've got multiple offers. All of these points are kind of things that you need to look for as well. Oh, high earnest money, you know, it means that they're serious, and all these things work as a selling agent as well, or a listing agent too. You kind of know what to look for to know what the good offers are. So it works both ways. Yeah,
very, very, very much. That's a very good point. So whatever you know on the buy side, you should look for on the sell side. Yeah. That is a very good point to make. And then, so we're going to quickly come on, and Anna, everybody has already kind of introduced themselves a little bit. But I want to ask you if you can state your full name, where are you from, how long have you been in San Antonio, and why real estate?
Hi, I'm Ana Loera. I actually moved here 3 years ago, like three and a half years ago. I'm from McAllen, from the Valley. And I'm a teacher, but I'm doing this on the side. And I'm loving it. I'm enjoying it. And I just love learning about real estate. And I'm happy to work with Alan.
Oh, well, thank you.
And everyone.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, well then I'm gonna open it up to questions. I know this is kind of the first kickoff meeting, so we're trying to keep it a little short, little sweet, just so you can get a taste of what's going on. So normally this would work out just a high introduction, and then we would go into goals. We're not doing that this session, just so that we can give you all the week to kind of think of some. So next week we're going to go into kind of what is your weekly goals, right? Every Monday we're going to start doing goal setting just for the week. Small goals. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. I want to meet 2 new people today, or I want to set 2 appointments. I want to call 10 people cold calling, whatever the case may be. I want to go knock on my neighbor's door, right? Just something to get you out of your comfort zone throughout the week, something to keep you on your mind. So just something to think about for next Monday is having a small goal for you. And then Thursday is going to kind of be follow-up. What's going on? How did you meet those goals? And if you haven't met them yet, you have Thursday and Friday to kind of push you along. And then we'll answer any questions you guys may have after going through the week. And then lastly, for today is kind of questions. What's going on, guys? What are y'all working on? What problems do y'all have? Or if y'all just have any questions personally for us.
Or about what we talked about today.
Or about what we talked about, right?
So I have a question.
Sure.
Yeah.
When you were talking about the appraisal and, if that didn't come out where our offer was, and still making sure, like you stated, the concessions for your client. I didn't catch all of that because my phone cut off, but what was the, like, if you came in high and the appraisal didn't, meet that number, you would put it in the contract anyway as far as concessions? Like, if the appraisal doesn't come back where we want, you would still request those concessions for your client?
Correct. So so that kind of went into the setting expectations, Marta. And so that was a very good question. It's pretty much, if we did have a miss, do we still request those? So the answer is yes. I mean, in the very beginning, if you ever have a question in your mind that, hey, we may be moving appraisal because we had to ask for those concessions, so we had to have a higher price. If you ever have those worries, always let the seller know, hey, I know we're in this price, but my seller or my buyers need this amount of money to close. So I just want to put that out there. We don't know if it's going to be higher or lower just yet, but I just want to let y'all know that, this is dependent on us closing, so that they can kind of think about that in the forefront before it happens. Because once it happens and then you tell them, then they're a lot less likely to come and be reasonable with it. They're going to say, no, we're taking it all away, and we're moving it only down to that amount. So by having those conversations, I've seen it work more than not. It's just by having those conversations in the very beginning and setting those expectations, Marta, that the seller is a lot more willing to move the deal because they understand already. And it's just kind of interesting the way that psychology plays.
And then as far as how much higher to come above, like the listing price to stay competitive, I know it's very dependent on each house, obviously, and each area, but like, do you follow any sort of rule of thumb of like how much might be feasible as far as like, so it doesn't go over like what an appraisal might come in at,
so,
like a percentage?
Yeah. So, I mean, there's really no rule of thumb. A lot of it is you kind of have to call the agent, right? Hey, and poke those questions. No agent is ever going to tell you what offer they got, but say, hey, I mean, are you over asking? Are you at asking? Are you pretty close to asking? So just poke those questions, right? They're never going to give you the exact amount. So if you're saying, oh, how strong is the offer? Is it over asking? Oh, yes, it's over asking. Okay, so now we know we at least have to go over asking. And then is it stronger than over asking? And then kind of move those questions. But I mean, a good rule of thumb, and it also depends on if you have concessions, right? So if you're needing those concessions to go and you're accounting for that on top of that offer and they already have over asking, you're kind of pushing that time frame or the money. But for the most part, I would say maybe 5. I wouldn't go over $10,000 because a lot of the times if you are pretty early on market, those agents know that they're already pushing that top end. They're trying to start it high and then come down a little bit low, right? As we all do. So I wouldn't try and go more than 5 to 10, and also depending on your concessions. But once you start going over that, that's when you're going to start seeing a lot more problems.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so to kind of clarify, and I have Anna over here telling me, because not everybody understands that when you do have an appraisal miss and you do have concessions, the concessions are typically the first thing to go, right? Because the seller's trying to find money to get back in their pockets. So if they come down plus their concessions, they're losing even more. So that's kind of the reason why setting those expectations that we need those concessions to even close the deal and not have to make you guys go back on market, wait another 30 days, get new appraisals, go through the process again. And so that kind of clarifies that. I don't know if anybody was missing that piece. Okay. Anybody else? Any other questions?
Can be about anything, not necessarily what we were just talking about.
Correct.
The paperwork, can you hear me?
Yeah.
The paperwork that I'm gonna need for the bill, is that all on zip forms?
Zip form. So for the new build, because you guys are doing more of a custom build, that's gonna may require a more custom contract, because the contracts that we do have on zip forms, they're for spec homes that are already done. This doesn't include, picking out finishes, picking out other things, and so those contracts are kind of a little bit different in a sense. So some of the ones I sent you earlier should kind of have some of those guidelines, but it may just be, we'd have to think about it. I'd have to maybe set some meetings with some builders and see what we can do about getting that structured, or maybe hire an attorney to draft those things up for you.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I didn't see where you sent them. That's what I was gonna ask.
Oh, okay, so you didn't receive those emails?
I'll have to go back and look.
Okay, well, just let me know and I'll resend them to you.
Yeah.
Okay. And we'll work on that, and I'll resend them to you, and then I'll find some resources on my end so that we can get those things done for you.
Okay. I'm meeting. They want to meet this week, but I'm gonna push it off till next week, so I have all this lined up.
Okay. Well, then that sounds good. We'll work on that.
Okay. Thanks.
Any other questions from anyone? I know that was a lot of information, and especially when you're relating back to the contract, it's kind of hard to follow everything. So for everyone who's watching right now, I'm going to send this recorded training to you, or not training, but Zoom meeting. We're recording it. I'm going to email it all to y'all so you can reference back to it and kind of rewatch. And if you have questions after that, you can reach out to us. But also just to thank you for hopping on as well. I'm not going to send it out to everyone. So yeah.
Thank you guys. We wish you a beautiful day. And if y'all have any questions, feel free to reach out. I will most likely be reaching out with y'all probably tomorrow just to check in on y'all, just so y'all hear from me and constantly hear from me. So yeah, thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you guys all Thursday.
Yeah, we plan to do another one Thursday. Short little meeting, but I'll send out an email.
So. Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.